to, if you don't want to be seen, please switch off your video. You may also use the chat section to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're joining in from, and what brings you to this event as well. Also tell us which city you're joining in from, because we have people on this call already from Delhi, Mumbai, Latur district, and elsewhere. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll, and I'll leave the poll open for those who are joining in, but I'm going to ask my colleague Supreet to take us through a little centering exercise so that we come into this session with full intention.
Thank you, Elsa, and hi, everyone. My name is Supreet, and I'm the director and CEO of Red Dot Foundation. I'm also a filmmaker, and I'm a yoga acharya. So we all are here with a lot of intention of talking about how women have been progressing, what more can we do to bring the others up, and how do we make a gender equal world. So to start with, let's just, if some of you can, cross your legs. If you're sitting on a chair, if you could just cross your feet like this while you're sitting. Clasp your fingers lightly like this. Keep your palms, your hands lightly on your lap. Close your eyes. Just close your eyes and listen to my voice. It's the easiest thing to do. You have to do nothing at all. Just close your eyes. Try sitting straight. Breathe from your nose. Keep your mouth closed and your eyes closed too. Just observe how you're breathing right now. Just stay with your breath for a moment. Now softly shift your focus to your mind. What's happening in your mind right now? Can you see images? Do you have thoughts of what's happened earlier today, earlier in the week? Or do you have something that you have to do tomorrow, day after, in the coming days? Is that what's taking all that space in your mind? What is it that's standing out right now? Are you feeling any emotions? Is there excitement? Is there curiosity? Happiness? Peace? What is it? Just stay with it for a moment. Let your thoughts come and let them go. Don't force yourself or your thoughts to come or to go. Let them naturally come to you. They all will pass. Now softly shift your focus to your abdomen. Just observe what's happening to your stomach when you breathe. Every time you inhale, your stomach should protrude. And every time you exhale, your stomach should go in. Is that what's happening? If not, take a moment and breathe and correct it. This is the deep yogic breathing, the correct way of breathing. Now softly shift your focus to the rise and fall of your chest. Just focus on what is happening to your chest as you breathe. Every time you inhale, your chest rises. Every time you exhale, your chest falls. Tender, constant movement of your chest. We hardly notice it. You can observe your breath by observing the rise and fall of your chest. Just observe how you're breathing. With every inhalation, carry inside you, fill yourself up with all the intentions and emotions you want to carry forward, that you want to be made of. So now, when you inhale, watch your breath as it carries with it happiness, joy, peace, euphoria, excitement, curiosity, strength, fearlessness, anything you want inside you. Just watch your breath as it fills you up with it every time you inhale. And every time you exhale, observe your breath as it carries all toxicity, all negativity, all anxiety, hurt, pain, sadness, things you don't want inside you. Watch it as it carries out of your body and your mind and your soul as you exhale. Let's take a few deep breaths and fill ourselves up with every ingredient we want inside us. Try to breathe with control from the start to the end of the words. Inhale and exhale as I say them. Don't force yourself. Just breathe in your natural rhythm with control. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And breathe. Let your body fall back into its natural rhythm of breathing. Stay with this feeling of lightness, of joy and happiness, and the intention to cohesively move forward and create a peaceful world inside and outside ourselves. Whenever you're ready, keep your eyes closed. Bring your palms together in front of you. Rub your palms against each other. Feel that energy and heat between your palms. From all those things you filled yourself up with, those emotions, those ingredients. Cup your palms over your eyes, fingers on your forehead. Let all this energy soak in through your eyes. And with those fingers on your forehead, push out any last bit of residue of things and thoughts and emotions you don't want inside you. Push it out towards the temple and out of your mind and your body and your soul. Whenever you're ready, softly open your eyes. I know I always have this 2 minute thing with Elsa, and I always shoot way beyond the time that I have. So, Elsa, over to you.
Thank you. That's fine. So, welcome everyone. And for those who arrived late, we did a poll, and most of you are feeling excited and curious about today's event. Many of you are here to support one of the speakers, so that's great. But the third question was also about how are you choosing to challenge, and you know, it's very hopeful to see that you do so through your work. So welcome everyone. Once again, my name is Elsa Marie De Silva. I'm the founder of Red Dot Foundation, and along with all our partners, we are very happy to welcome you to this event. I don't want to take up too much of time, but I want to say that the International Women's Day theme is Women in Leadership. And the priority theme is really women's full and effective participation and decision making in public life, as well as the elimination of violence for achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. And keeping this theme in mind, we chose to title our event Choose to Challenge. Because how do you reach to this aspirational goal if we don't start challenging a lot of the things around us? If we take any statistic in India on gender, we don't fare very well. Whether it is the violence against women, which is more than the 1 in 3%, 1 in 3 women on the global average, it's pretty much around, you know, 90%. We have a rape that happens every 18 minutes. We have women dropping out of the formal labor force. It's now below 25%. We have only 14% women in parliament, and so on and so forth. But today we are going to also listen to positive stories, because we need that inspiration to help us stay focused and try to achieve these goals. So the way we are going to conduct the session is that we have our partner UNICEF India. So Raj Lakshmi Nair will say a few words, the introductory address, and then we will hand over to one of the young girls, Claudia Crizel, who will moderate the session. And between her and the other three girls, they will take turns to pose questions to our senior leaders from the diplomatic missions of Western India. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Raj Lakshmi Nair, the nutrition specialist and the officer in charge from UNICEF, to give her introductory address. And we'll have to unmute her.
Thank you very much, Elsa. It's a very unique moment today, because we are seeing that how different levels of leadership has come together, whether it is from the diplomatic missions, it is a young women serpents from a village, a good player, a change agent. So it's giving a hope and an aspiration that women are coming out to really promote leadership roles in different capacities. For UNICEF, it's one of the core mandate to encourage and make women center to all the developmental agenda. Lot of evidence and researchers are pointing that wherever women have led the role, wherever women have participated, you have seen better outcomes, whether it is learning among children, improving health of children, improving nutrition, access to education has improved, and enough evidence is there. So as UNICEF, we are committed, and one of the key areas that we would really like to remain relevant is how do we really provide opportunities and aspirations to women and young girls to emerge as change agents and leaders in their own respective field. And there are plenty of stories which is showing that yes, leadership can happen if opportunities are given. For UNICEF, we are also committed to really look at everybody gets access to vaccine, irrespective whether you are from what community or what. This vaccine is a fundamental right to ensure that everybody has access to good health. The second area where UNICEF is really liking to invest is improving mental health. COVID-19 pandemic has clearly shown how mental health has affected many of our youngsters. And there is enough case studies of showing what is happening. How do we as an organization come together with partners, provide opportunity, join hands to ensure that there is adequate investment in improving mental health. The third area that we really want to really talk about is a partnership to end all kinds of discrimination. UNICEF alone cannot do it. That's where we need to provide platform, convene partnerships, bring people together, people, change agents, leaders who has a vision to take this agenda forward. We are also very keen to see that climate change is also a core area that we need to invest, because what we are seeing in India and across the globe, how climate change has affected, especially when it comes to the whole issue of survival, growth, education, and protection of women, children across the world. So climate change is an area that we really need to invest, and we are coming out in a big way, and how we can play a big role. The unique, some of the examples where many other countries and also in India is the, double burden of pandemic and also floods, also droughts. How can poor families afford to face all this? So how do we address that as a joint initiative? And this has to be done with women leaders playing a central role. And this is where we are here to promote and come together, convene, provide platform for all stakeholders to play their role. And it's very interesting today to see, we have very people representing various diplomatic missions of various countries, and all are women, and it's very interesting. So really salute. And also seeing young girls coming in their different capacities, and also Afroza from Nandagaon, who's a women sarpanch, a leader you may see tomorrow sitting and taking decisions. And maybe she would be a great leader who would look at climate change and investment in women. And also young players who are here to really take this agenda. So as UNICEF and on behalf of UNICEF, would like to really say this has been one of the most unique opportunity to celebrate the International Day for Women. And I don't think so. This is, you will have a better platform to bring people across various sectors and societies. So thank you very much. And I want to once again thank Elsa for really bringing this together and putting a strong team together to speak and take this agenda forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Raji. You set the tone for the conversation, and we've noticed in the last 1 year, of course, we know this from years and years and ages and eras, that women have been multitasking, women can do anything. And now more so in the last 1 year, I think they have come forward and they have taken care of so many things. It is just amazing to see all these panelists and these young girls who are there with us. So I have written a poem for Who is a Woman? So if all of you could just in your chat section start saying what a woman means to you, and I will read out the poem that I wrote. It is in Hindi and Urdu, so a lot of people, some of the people might not understand it, but I will make sure that by the end of the event, I do translate it for you. So if you could please go ahead, put it in the chat box. Who is a woman to you? So this is my poem. औरत कौन है? ख्वाब सहलाती रूहानी इशारे सी, आवारा जज्बाती फिजा है वो, मोहब्बत है करार है, जुल्फे सवारती गजल है वो, पंछी सी आजाद है, बहती घटा सी लचीली है वो, देवी है शक्ति है, शोले सी बेखौफ है वो, कुछ वो सुने कुछ मैं कहूं, दो पल जिंदगी की आह है वो, जहां चाहे जो भी कहे, गुलों के दर सी महकती है वो, फूलों के बाग में खिलखिलाती, खुले आसमां में पतंग है वो, आज रात वो चांद से खेलेगी, शब में बहकी बूंद है वो, क्यों पूछते हो उसके रुख का मंजर, खुद खुदाई की कलम है वो. So thank you. So in a few words, it said that she is the breeze. She is the soulful signs that people have around them. She is creativity. She's the universe. And it's basically saying, who are we? Who are you to ask, where is she going? What is she doing? Who is she? Because God wrote creativity, wrote this universe with the column, with the pen called woman. So, woman is life and woman is the world. And that is what we all should remember and take back with us. So, thank you everyone for listening to me, and I'll hand it over back to Elsa.
Thank you, Supreet. That was beautiful. So now I want to introduce our speakers. We have 9 of them. So 5 senior women leaders, and then we have 4 champions. So we have Anna Leckwell, who is the Consul General of Sweden in Mumbai. We have Beatrix Hagman, Deputy Consul General of Switzerland in Mumbai. Brenda Van Horn, Principal Commercial Officer of the US Consulate General, Mumbai. Deidre Kent, Deputy High Commissioner of Canada to India and Chargé d'Affaires for the Consulate General of Canada in Mumbai, and Maria Einisch, Deputy Consul General of Germany in Mumbai. And the young champions are Afroza Navkekar, who's the Sarpanch. She is the first woman Sarpanch and the first Muslim woman Sarpanch of Nandgaon Gram. Claudia Crizel, who's a rugby player and the captain of the Goa's rugby women's team. We have Janka Shinde, who's a menstrual health educator and champion, and Prakriti Mishra, who's a Teach for India fellow and Yuva's advisory body member. So I'm going to pass it over to Claudia, who will start off with her story. Over to you, Claudia.
Thank you, Elsa. Good evening, everybody. My name is Claudia Crizel, and I've done my bachelor's in psychology and English, and I aspire to be a criminal psychologist someday. I have been a sports person for as long as I can remember, no matter how good or bad I was at what I was playing. I currently do play basketball for a club within my state, and I am the captain of the Goa women's team, and I have been for the past 2 years. I was also a part of the first ever 15-a-side Indian women's team that played in Singapore in 2018. It wasn't always smooth sailing, and everyone did have their fair share of concerns about me, a girl, playing a rough sport, which was considered a man's sport. Concerns about my face getting distorted, me breaking a few bones, and all sorts of things like that. But there's a question that I'm always asked is, why are you playing a game that's a man's game? Which I think is a little funny, and I laugh and I tell them there's no such thing as a man's sport. There's over 2,000 women in this country playing rugby. Sweat dries, blood clots, and bones heal. Why would I be afraid? The most important thing I have learned through rugby is that it doesn't matter how many times you are knocked down. What matters is how many times you get up. And no matter how many times I am thrown around or if life drags me down, I know I will be ready and to get back and come back stronger. Thank you. Then I would like to invite the Deputy Consul, Ms. Maria, from the Consulate General of Germany. Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to ask you a few questions. As a well-established, successful leader of the world, can you throw some light on any of the struggles you've faced in getting to where you are?
Thank you, Claudia, for your question. And first of all, a big compliment. I think your story was remarkable, and I wish I could play rugby as you can. I can't.
Thank you.
Frankly, when I heard about your program, in view of the many hindrances that women still encounter in today's world, I had some advantages in my journey, I have to admit, because I grew up in a society that already had some safeguards in place. For example, laws preventing early or forced marriages, or an excellent education system which gave girls the chance to enjoy similar schooling as boys. So on top, I grew up in a family where nobody questioned the fact that a woman needs to have a good profession. And be it vocational training or university studies, whatever she herself chooses. So our family motto was a woman needs to be self-reliant and cannot be financial dependent on a man. And otherwise it will be a very thorny path for her to pursue a self-determined life. And so, and by the way, like things like partnership and having kids and raising them was equally, so to say, a given in that setting. My grandma was a librarian, and all her sisters had solid professions like nurses and police officers and clerks, and that was already in the 1950s. So I have to say, no doubt, my family background helped me to gain confidence in my own capabilities to take up the profession. But I have to say, one of my big struggles actually were my law studies and getting through the exams. And in hindsight, I could say I could have probably made a better choice for myself. So you choose rugby, I choose law studies. Nevertheless, you know, it always leads us somewhere, probably in a place where we in the end like to be. But therefore, I find mentoring so valuable. It can be so rewarding if early on you'll have people around you who observe you, who help you, who speak with you and help you to discover your real talents and what you'd like to do. And I have to say my choice, I think in hindsight, was slightly random. It was curiosity of unknown, and also a little bit like a field that also other peers pursued, which is a little an outside influence more than an inner influence. But on the other hand, I wanted to challenge the challenge of something new instead of doing something that I already could do, and wanted, so to say, also to conquer something which was at that time pretty much a men's world, I had the feeling. But my advice to young women today really would be try to choose something that you deeply care of, that you're interested in, which you really enjoy. Because training always, you know it as a rugby player, that requires really hard work, a lot of effort and focus, and you will excel much, much better if your enthusiasm and you know your real interest carries you through also difficult times. And by the way, I greatly admire people who have great capabilities, for example, also with their hands, be it plumbers or masons or electricians or tailors. I love those professions, but of course, very much admiring doctors, scientists, judges, or artists, dancers, musicians. So I think the world is, you know, there's full of possibilities and opportunities, and that's the fascination.
That's wonderful. I'm very overwhelmed by your answer. I think you couldn't have said that any better. I have one more question. Is there any advice you would give to your, if there was any advice you would be able to give to your younger self, what would it be?
Yeah, I have to say, I discovered that you have outside struggles, of course, but you also have the struggle within yourself. So many of the stereotypes that you might have outside are actually a little bit planted also in your own mind. And it can be very useful to be, for example, self-critical, absolutely. But it can also have a very self-defeating effect. You just said, you know, about standing up again. I think that's a super attitude. But I think one important lesson is don't lose too much time in questioning your each and every step. Sometimes one has to be daring and take some risks. And self-confidence helps to be brave, because people will not always applaud you for what you do. And sometimes, success proves you right only later, or sometimes it's failures from which you learn. So in that sense, find your own style in leadership, and how you professionally handle things. That's one of my advice.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to invite Janka Shinde to share her story, please.
Namaste.
Hi, Janka.
Hi.
It's all yours.
Yeah. सबको मेरा पहले से नमस्ते. माझं नाव जानका शिंदे आणि गाव कळमगाव, तालुका शिरोळणपा आणि जिल्हा लातूर.
Karishma will be doing the translation from Marathi into English. Go ahead, Karishma.
Great, thank you. I was raising my hand for the same. Hi, I'm translating for Janka. So, Janka, hi, I'm Janka, and I'm here from Latur district. Yes. Continue, Kar.
सर्वांना जागतिक महिला दिनाच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. आणि जे मी आता जे सांगले माझ्या थोडक्यात मी करेन. मला म्हणजे खरंच मला अभिमान वाटतो माझा की आज मी मुलगी म्हणून जन्म घेतलाय.
A very happy Women's Day to everyone, and I'm going to express a few words. Today, I'm very proud that I have taken a birth as a woman.
आणि कारण म्हणजे आजच्या परिस्थितीला तर मुलींना म्हणजे बाहेर पडणं म्हणजे मुली म्हणजे जास्त शिकवणं म्हणजे मुलींसोबत कधी घडतच नाहीये. कारण मुली म्हणून जन्माला आलेली असते. तेच मी म्हणजे असं मला वाटतंय की बाबा मुलगी म्हणजे हॅलो
Janka, तुझा आवाज मध्ये गेलेला. But yeah, so Janka is saying that it's a tough world for women out there. That's what she said. I lost her after that. I'm so sorry about that.
आणि मी जे बोलणार आहे आणि मेन म्हणजे बालविवाहाबद्दल. कारण बालविवाह हे प्रमाण आता सध्या खूप वाढलेलं आहे. बालविवाह म्हणजे करणं खूप धोक्याचं आहे, कारण त्याचे दुष्परिणाम हे म्हणजे लोकांना जास्ती म्हणजे माहिती नाही. आपण बालविवाह करतो याचा परिणाम होईल आपल्या आणि आपल्यावरती.
I'm going to speak about child marriage. The instances of child marriage have been on the rise, and not a lot of people are aware of the same.
आणि कारण माझ्याबद्दल सांगते मी, कारण माझ्या घरी ना म्हणजे 8 बहिणी आहेत आम्ही आणि मी 7 नंबरची आहे. मग ज्यावेळेस माझं शिक्षण 10वी झालं त्यावेळेस आई वडिलांनी म्हणजे बंद केलं, कारण घरच्या एवढ्या मुलींना शिकवणं त्यांना पण कठीण जातं. त्यावेळेस मग घरी म्हणायचे की आता तुझं लग्न करायला पाहिजे, आता खूप झालं, एवढी शिकली ना, म्हणजे आमची आता म्हणजे पुढे परिस्थिती नाही की तुला पुढचं शिक्षण देऊ आम्ही. मग त्यावेळेस एक दीक्षिका प्रोग्राम होता युनिसेफचा, त्याच्यामध्ये मी जॉईन झाले आणि म्हणजे खूप माहिती भेटली त्याच्याबद्दल आणि तिथलं ट्रेनिंग घेतल्यानंतर मी गावी गेले.
So I have 7 sisters. I'm the 8th daughter. I managed to get an education till grade 10. And then my family was not able to get me educated. There was this pressure to get married. But then I found out about the Deepshika program, which is run by UNICEF. I got trained through the program, and I went back to my village.
म्हणजे ज्यावेळेस मी फर्स्ट टाइम युनिसेफचं ते दीपशिकाचं ट्रेनिंग घेतलं त्यावेळेस मी फक्त 10वी झालेली माझी. ते ट्रेनिंग घेतल्यानंतर मग मला खूप फायदा झाला की बाबा म्हणजे समोरच्या व्यक्तींना कसं बोलायचं आणि त्यांना कसं आपला विषय कसा पटवून द्यायचा. मी ते आई वडिलांना सांगितले की मला आता लग्न नाही करायचं, म्हणजे कारण म्हणजे तेवढी मी समजदार पण नव्हती की बाबा माझं जर लग्न झालं तर मी समोरच्यांना कसं बोलेन.
I had only graduated from grade 10, and the Deepshika program provided me with a lot of benefits. I learned how to communicate with others, how to speak with others. I was able to tell my parents that I do not intend to get married right now. Had it not been for the program, I don't think I would have been in a position to communicate the same.
आणि मी माझ्या म्हणजे गावातील मुलींचा पण बालविवाह थांबवलेला आहे, कारण मला म्हणजे लोकांना समजून सांगायला खूप कठीण गेलं, पण मी अंगणवाडी ताई आणि शिक्षकांची मदत वगैरे घेऊन हे काम केलेलं आहे.
I was able to prevent quite few child marriages in my own village. I took the help of local Anganwadis to sort of communicate the same and prevent such child marriages in my community.
कारण त्यांची मदत का घेतली मी, कारण मी लहान होते आणि माझं कोणी ऐकणार नाही. म्हणजे त्यांना माहिती असतं की बाबा शिक्षिका आणि अंगणवाडी कार्यकर्त्यांना म्हणजे भावाचे काय परिणाम होतात काय नाही, त्याच्यामुळे मी त्यांची मदत घेतली.
I was very young, but I sought the help of the teachers at the Anganwadis because they were trusted individuals in our community. And so with their help and using them as my allies, I was able to prevent child marriages.
मी खरंच खूप खुश आहे, कारण आज मी पुणे या ठिकाणी शिक्षण घेत आहे आणि मला पोलीस ऑफिसर बनायचं आहे. मेन मुलींना घराच्या बाहेर पडतात त्यावेळेस म्हणजे असं मुलींना स्वतःच म्हणजे निर्णय घेण्याची क्षमता त्यांच्यामध्ये प्राप्त होते.
I'm very happy today. I currently live in Pune, and I want to become a police officer. I want to ensure that women feel safe as they step out of their homes and just are able to communicate and take care of their own.
आणि ज्यावेळेस मी आणि मासिक पाळीबद्दल म्हणजे बोलायचं म्हणजे एक मी तर मुलगीच आहे स्वतः, आणि
Janka तुझा आवाज गेलेला आहे, but Janka was trying to address menstrual hygiene or the myth around menstruation. Janka पुढे बोल तू.
Yes. आणि ज्यावेळेस मासिक पाळीबद्दल बोलायचं म्हणजे लोकांना वाटतं की बाबा शाप असल्यासारखं वाटतं, कारण हे देवाने दिलेलं वरदान. कारण एक महिला आहे तर म्हणजे मासिक पाळी आहे तर एक म्हणजे तिला स्त्रीत्व आहे.
A lot of people treat menstruation as a curse. However, I personally think it is a gift, and yeah.
त्यानंतर मग मी आज मुलींना सांगते की बाबा मासिक पाळीमध्ये काय स्वच्छता घ्यायची काय नाही, आणि आज मुली म्हणजे सॅनिटरी नॅपकिन पॅड वगैरे यूज पण करतात.
And I have been speaking with girls around me about menstrual hygiene, and they've been using sanitary napkins as well. So I've been able to have those conversations.
कारण हा मासिक पाळी असा विषय आहे की जेंट्स मध्ये आपण बोलू शकत नाही. मेन म्हणजे एक मुलगी म्हणून किंवा लेडीज म्हणून आपल्याला लाज वाटते किंवा आपण पुरुषाशी कसं बोलायचं, किंवा एक जेंट्स डॉक्टर जरी असला तरी आपण त्याच्याबद्दल म्हणजे मासिक पाळीबद्दल काही सांगू पण शकत नाही. आणि आई जरी स्वतःची आई जरी असली की बाबा आईला पण वाटते आपल्याला मुलींना ह्या विषयी कसं बोलावं. त्यामुळं ही मी ट्रेनिंग घेतल्यामुळे मला खूप फायदा झाला आणि माझ्या गावातील मुलींना पण या मासिक पाळीबद्दल मी जे माहिती सांगते त्याचा पण खूप फायदा झालेला आहे.
Often women and girls around me, we find it difficult to talk about menstruation openly around men or even with physicians who are males. However, because of my training and because of the program, I've been able to talk to women and girls about menstruation openly and create that awareness around menstruation.
आणि आज मी सध्या खूप खुश आहे कारण आज माझ्या गावामध्ये बालविवाह पण होत नाहीत आणि महिलांना म्हणजे आज मुली पण शिकायला लागल्यात. ज्या शाळा मुली होत्या त्या पण शिकायला लागल्यात. आणि मेन म्हणजे आता न भीता मुली पण विचारतात की बाबा दीदी असं आता काय करायचं. आता आमच्या म्हणजे शेजारला कोणी जर मुली असं म्हणजे फर्स्ट टाइम त्याला पिरियड चालू आहे, मुली तर म्हणजे आईला विचारणं अगोदर म्हणजे मला विचारतात बाबा आता काय करायचं काय नाही. कारण फ्रेंडली म्हणजे आईसोबत आपण बोलू शकत नाही कारण मुलींना पण लाज वाटते या विषयावर आईला कसं विचारायचं. आणि आई पण सांगू शकत बाबा आपण या मुलींना या विषयावर पण खेडेगावात मुलीला तर बोलू शकत नाही. आणि मेन म्हणजे त्यांना म्हणजे माहिती नसते की बाबा आपण हा विषय मुलींना कसं करायचा.
I'm very happy today. The girls in my community, especially, if they get their first period, or if they start menstruating, they come to me and ask me these questions very frankly, very openly, because it's still a myth to talk about menstruation, even with their own mothers. So I'm glad I'm in this position. Yeah.
आणि माझे 2 क्वेश्चन आहेत ॲना लेपाल मॅडमला.
Okay, she's going to ask her 2 questions of Miss Anna Leckwell.
माझा असा क्वेश्चन आहे कारण मी मराठवाड्यातून आहे आणि जे बालविवाहाचं प्रमाण आहे ते प्रमाण कमी करण्यासाठी म्हणजे शास्त्रीय कायदे वगैरे पण बालविवाहाचे केले आहेत. ते करण्यासाठी अजून काय करता येईल?
Hello, Anna. So Janka's question is that she is from the Marathwada district, which is in the interiors of Maharashtra. There's not much awareness around child marriage and the laws protecting against the same. So she was wondering what is it that can be done to sort of address these issues.
Thank you, Janka. I'll respond. Thank you, Janka. And I'll make some pauses so you can also translate back. First of all, I just have to say what an incredible story you have and what an incredible journey you are making. First of all, both raising awareness on child marriages in your own area where you come from and finding the path forward. Your ambitions to become a police, which would obviously be an incredible fortune for everyone to have with you, with your experience and outlook, and your work on menstruation and helping girls. I cannot but start to say how incredibly impressed I am with the work you're doing and how you found your path forward. So we'll just start with that, if you can translate.
जानका, ॲना तुला भरपूर कॉंग्रॅच्युलेशन्स म्हणतायत तुझ्या कामाबद्दल. तुझा जो प्रवास झालेला आहे इथपर्यंत त्याच्याबद्दल त्या तुला कॉंग्रॅच्युलेट करत आहेत. आणि तू जे काय काम केलं आहेस मेन्स्ट्रुअल हायजीन वरती, म्हणजे मासिक पाळींवरती, आणि मुलींना त्याबद्दल शिकवण्याबद्दल, त्याच्याबद्दल तुझे फार फार आभार. आणि त्या म्हणजे कल्पनाही करू शकत नाही की करून तुझा प्रवास कसा झाला असेल. तर त्याबद्दल धन्यवाद. असं.
Thank you. And I can fully understand that it's been a lot of challenges on your path. A few words you were asking on child marriages, and this is, you should of course know, this is, and you do know yourself, that this is something that every child has a right to be protected against. It's a very harmful practice. It has devastating consequences, both for the individuals, for society. This is not something I'm saying or just in this room. This is something that India, Sweden, and the world has agreed to. And there is a global goal, because this practice exists in many countries across the world. And all countries have come together to say this practice is illegal, it's harmful, and it has to be eliminated. And there is a goal for that the world has signed up to eliminate this practice by 2030. Now you're asking how can this be done, and of course even the fact that it is illegal and it's all in agreement, there are some challenges to this. Yes, do you want yeah, you can, I'll finish now, and then you translate. There is exactly what you're doing is one of the key things: raising awareness, preventing, and talking about it. And it's not easy, it's a challenge. The thing is, India has actually done a lot of progress, and I'm saying this very much based on also you've been helped through a program by UNICEF, and UNICEF is really one of the key global UN organizations working on this. Also have a program together with UNFPA. And what you can see in this work is that also India has made a lot of progress. It's been a positive path. And it's actually, if you look at some of the things that has been done to achieve that, it's very much about education for girls, literacy for mothers, strong legislation, strong public messages about the illegality and the harmfulness of this, and a positive programs and investment, both from government and from UNICEF, as you talked about. So, I mean, just want to leave it with, there's a lot that remains to be done. The pandemic may have put us back quite a bit on this path to reach the goal to eliminate this practice. So we all need to keep at it, accelerate this progress so we can achieve it, because this is a really harmful and a very challenging issue that we all need to sign up for. Sorry, that was very long for the translation. But
no, thank you, Anna. चाइल्ड मॅरेज जे आहे, अॅना म्हणतात की चाइल्ड मुलं ही कोणत्याही परिस्थितीत प्रोटेक्ट केलीच पाहिजेत, आणि हार्मफुल प्रॅक्टिस आहे चाइल्ड बालविवाहाची.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Sorry, I was muted. I guess. Sorry about that. Sorry. So भरपूर इलिगल आणि हार्मफुल बालविवाहाची जी परिस्थिती आहे, पण आपण ग्लोबली असे गोल सेट केले आहेत की 2030 पर्यंत आपण बालविवाहाला एलिमिनेट करण्याचे प्रयत्न करणार आहोत. आणि तू जे करते आहेस तू एकदम बरोबर मार्गावरती आहे. लोकांमध्ये अवेअरनेस, लोकांना जागतिक करणं बालविवाहाविषयी, त्यांच्याशी बोलणं, आणि ही सगळी भरपूर कठीण कामं आहेत, पण तू ते अगोदरच करते आहे. आणि विशेष म्हणजे भारतामध्ये बालविवाह संदर्भात भरपूर प्रगती झालेली आहे. तू युनिसेफ बद्दल बोललीस, तसं युनिसेफ आणि UNFPA जे आहे ते एकत्र काम करीत आहेत, जेणेकरून बालविवाहावरला आपण थांबवू शकू. आणि एकमेव रस्ता ह्याच्यासाठी असा आहे की मुलींचं शिक्षण, एज्युकेशन फॉर गर्ल्स, लिटरसी म्हणजे बायका मुलांमध्ये ह्याच्या बद्दलची लिटरसी शिक्षण देणं त्यांना हे गरजेचं आहे. आणि पब्लिक मेसेजेस म्हणजे लोकांना स्ट्रॉंग गव्हर्नमेंट वगैरे कडून येणारे जे मेसेजेस आहेत, आणि हे तू ज्या प्रोग्राम मध्ये पार्ट होतीस तसे वेगवेगळे प्रोग्राम्स आणि त्यामध्ये इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करणं हे गरजेचं आहे. आणि कोविडमुळे आपण भलेही थोडे थांबले असू, पण आपण ह्या ज्या स्टेप्स घेतोय त्या करत आपण राहिलो तर बालविवाह नक्कीच एके दिवशी आपल्याला पूर्णपणे एलिमिनेट करता येईल.
हा, खूपच छान. कारण मला आनंदच होईल आणि मी एक युनिसेफला म्हणजे असं म्हणजे हे करू शकते, कारण की अजून जर त्यांनी जर मुलींबद्दल जर काही प्रोग्राम वगैरे करता आला तर केला तर खूप चांगलं होईल. आणि माझा दुसरा क्वेश्चन आहे, जे आपली स्त्री पुरुष समानता जी आहे याविषयी आपण समाजामध्ये बोलतो आणि बाबा समाजामध्ये स्त्रियांना पुरुषांना समान हक्क आहेत, शाळेच्या ठिकाणी किंवा कॉलेज किंवा अदरतेही, पण हे प्रत्यक्षात दिलं जात नाही त्यांना. हे स्त्री पुरुष समानता तर कायदे पण केलेले शासनाने, त्याच्याबद्दल घटनेमध्ये तरतुदी पण आहेत, तर अजून आपल्याला काय करता येईल?
Anna Janka says that her next question is that we talk about equality in the society, we talk about men and women being equal, and so on, and she says that there are even legislations which talk about equality for all, but she's saying that a lot of it is not represented in the society. Like, the reality is starkly different. So how do we work towards that kind of equality? So yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Janka, for that question. It's something that I think all of us are asking every day, and from various parts of the world in very different situations. There is an agreement, exactly what you were saying, by all, most, as you were saying, governments, they're in the goals, but we still lack progress in so many ways. I mean, there is a lot of progress. We also have to see the achievements. And I think it's important to see the achievements so we also get inspired. And you yourself is part of an incredible journey and proof that some of these efforts to counteract some of the challenges is in the fact that you are aiming to be police, for example. All these things are positive paths on the journey. So celebrating and looking at what we have achieved also inspires our, I think, hope and our energy to keep at it, because that's what's needed. All the nice goals are there. All the we can all agree. Maybe not everyone will agree, but most people will agree these days that gender equality is good for everyone, good for individuals, good for society. It's even good for the economy, if you just look at for everything. But how to make it happen? And that is the story of that. And if I just refer a little bit from my own country, who 100 years ago, we're today celebrating that women are allowed to vote, which wasn't the case 100 years ago. That may sound like a long time, but it's not so long. It's just a couple of generations, actually. And we didn't have equal rights. Now I come from a country and I grew up in a situation where it's still not equal. We still have our differences in terms of wages and things, but it's a country that has where women are, it's seen as we have all the opportunities we need in terms of being educated, about working, and also at higher educations, and in all sorts of ways encouraged to do so. Not saying that there aren't flaws and challenges in that. My own organization that I work with in like diplomatic work, it was new to have women just a couple of generations ago. So I'm just saying it's possible. There's a lot of evidence that we can make huge changes, but it does require from both each one of us that we keep both, celebrating the achievements and challenge, and what is it you call it? Choose to challenge the barriers and take the steps. My rights today that I have and the freedoms is thanks to a lot of women and men who fought for this 1 and 2 generations ago and are still fighting for the rights. So it is a lot of things that we all need to come together. And 365 days. I love International Women's Day. It's a wonderful day to celebrate our rights and gender equality. But of course, we all agree that this is something we do 365 days every day of the year, and where we all engage to push these forward. I think I'll stop there, but thank you so much, Janka, and it was such a pleasure to hear your story and to meet you. I wish you all the strength and courage that you will need on your path ahead, and remember that there are many who will support you on that path. Thank you.
जानका अॅना म्हणतायत की डिफरंट तू जे बोललीस की आपण बोलतो इक्वालिटी म्हणजे एकता पाहिजे, एकता नाही इक्वालिटी पाहिजे इन टर्म्स ऑफ मेन आणि विमेन. ती जागतिक अग्रीमेंट त्याच्यावरती आहे, म्हणजे लोक साधारण अग्री करतात त्याच्यावरती, पण ह्याच्यावरती भरपूर प्रोग्रेस केला पाहिजे. पण एक गोष्ट आपल्याला लक्षात ठेवली पाहिजे की नुसतंच आपल्याला जे आपण काही प्रोग्रेस केला आहे त्याच्यावरती पण आपल्याला लक्ष दिलं पाहिजे असं ते म्हणतात. आणि तू जे काम करतेस किंवा तुझं जे उदाहरण आहे तेच आपल्यासाठी एक एक्झाम्पल म्हणून आपण यूज करू शकतो की आपण मेन आणि विमेन इक्वालिटीकडे आपण प्रोग्रेस करत आहोत. आणि त्यांचं असं म्हणणं आहे की त्या ज्या देशातून येतात एस्पेशली त्यांच्याकडे पण म्हणजे अजून पण जे आपल्याला विमेन आणि माणसात आणि स्त्री आणि पुरुषांमध्ये जे सॅलरी वगैरे मिळतात त्याच्यात पण वर खाली आहे, आणि ती इनइक्वालिटी अजून पण म्हणजे पाश्चात्य देशात पण चालूच आहे. पण आपल्याला ह्याच्याकडे लक्ष दिलं पाहिजे की आपण जे छोटे छोटे अचीवमेंट्स करतोय ते आपण सेलिब्रेट करूया. आणि दुसरी गोष्ट म्हणजे की विमेन्स डे एकदा म्हणजे वर्षातून एका दिवशी सेलिब्रेट करतात, पण आपल्याला प्रत्येकाला रोज म्हणजे 356 दिवस आपल्याला एकत्र येऊन हे काम करणं गरजेचं आहे. तर असं अॅनाचं म्हणणं आहे, आणि ते तुला भरपूर थँक्यू म्हणत होते, आणि तुझी स्टोरी त्यांना भरपूर आवडलेली आहे असं.
थँक्यू मॅम. आणि मी बोलू? हॅलो.
हा बोलो.
हा, आणि सर्वांना परत एकदा जागतिक महिला दिनाच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. आणि मी जाता जाता 2 शब्द बोलेन. एक छोटीशी म्हणजे 4 ओळींची कविता आहे. बोलू का?
हाँ बोलो.
हाँ बोलो. बेटी हूँ मैं तारा बनूंगी, तारा बनूंगी मैं सहारा बनूंगी, तारा बनूंगी मैं सहारा बनूंगी, बेटी हूँ मैं तारा बनूंगी. आणि
Thank you, Janka. Thank you so much for joining us today. Your story was very, very inspiring. And thank you, Anna, for joining us as well. Also, a big thank you to Karishma for translating that for all of us. I would like to invite Prakriti, our next young speaker, to take the spotlight and share with us your story.
Thank you, Claudia. Honorable leaders from the consulates, fellow speakers, and our wonderful audience, a very, very good evening. It is indeed an honor for me to be a part of this August gathering. I'm a fellow at Teach for India, where I teach 7th graders in a government school in Mumbai. The children of my classroom come from low-income families whose monthly income ranges between rupees 5,000 and 10,000, that is less than $136 a month. They sustain a family ranging 6 to 12 members. In addition to that, I'm a part of Young People's Action Team, a UNICEF-led platform which consists of change makers from different walks of life. As a group, we come together to help amplify the issues which the youth is facing at the moment and come up with creative solutions for the same. I would like to bring some of the key gender-related facts with regards to India to the table. In my native state of Bihar, the National Family Health Survey 2019-20 has reported that 63.5% of women between the age of 15 and 49 are suffering from anemia. It is an alarming issue as the cases have increased by 3.2% in the past 4 years. In early 2020, the Mobile Gender Gap Report, published by GSM Associations, revealed that although India ranks 18th on the Internet Affordability Index, only 21% of the women use mobile internet. According to the Periodic Labor Force Survey conducted by the National Statistical Office in 2019, only 20.7% of the women are in the labor force across India, which is a steep decline from 30% in the year 1990. It is truly empowering to see what Janka is doing in her community regarding menstruation. In that direction, I'm doing a little from my side as an educator to make my students aware of the term menstruation. I have been holding a series of sessions about menstrual health and hygiene. All the sessions were gender inclusive so that boys too gain equal knowledge about menstruation. I envision that all adolescents, regardless of their sex, should be able to talk about menstruation freely without thinking of it as a myth. Something that I, as a woman, also want to advocate for my fellow women folk is financial literacy and financial independence. This reminds me of sustainable goal number 8, decent work and economic growth. This can only come to reality when all our women, since the very childhood, are made to become independent. And education is a powerful tool for women to do so. I have had several conversations with the parents of my female students, few of whom are extremely bright in studies and extracurricular activities. Unfortunately, a majority of them have communicated that their daughters would drop out of school after finishing the 10th grade in order to get married once they turn 18. It was a shocking revelation to me, as the thought of marriage before even graduating college never crossed my mind. On being asked why they want to marry off their daughters, their response was that it is the woman's job to run the household, whereas working outside the home and earning money was the job of the husband. This gender division of labor is deeply rooted in culturally determined gender roles. In my opinion, it is high time that all girls from their very childhood, regardless of their background, income, and familial status, are encouraged to pursue higher studies. They must be supported by their families and the state to inculcate the 21st century skills which would ultimately make them employable. There must be a mechanism in place to stress on the fact that earning a living of one's own is a pivotal aspect of leading a life with dignity, and that attaining basic education is not enough for their children to get a job. In a vastly populated country like India, a woman needs to be financially independent so that she's capable enough to have her own say while taking important life decisions. Only if they're aware of their rights and have the resources to exercise them can our women be truly set free. I urge all of us present in this virtual assembly to be the leaders which our country truly needs, especially considering the current COVID-19 pandemic. Let's all steadily challenge and steadily change this mindset, which causes girls to drop out of school and get married at a young age, which is thereby leading in their financial dependence on the male members of their families. The linkage of education with health, nutrition, and the women's role in bringing in their next generation of the country and the world cannot be overstated. Visionary leadership is as crucial in civil society as it is in politics and business. And this visionary leadership has to be present from the micro to the macro level, utilizing the synergy between non-governmental organizations, self-help groups, government bodies, and international NGOs with a focus on outcomes and deliverables. On the occasion of International Women's Day, I'd like to conclude by reciting a poem written by me, which is an attempt to embrace womanhood. Life is beautiful when she is in it. She has the passion for life and the grit to live life in a balanced way and make the most out of each and every day. This is a beautiful occasion, a day full of dialogue and contemplation. I wonder if we as a united world witness tranquil amongst genders being unearthed and spread awareness to enable one another to become our best selves and love every gender. Let's stand up and choose to challenge and render our society free of ills and evils. With the passage of time, we certainly are becoming a generation oh so new. I am a proud woman. Hope you are too. A very, very happy International Women's Day to everyone. Thank you. I'd like to ask my question to Miss Kent. Good evening, Miss Kent.
Good evening. Really pleased to be here with you and all the other panelists and young leaders. Yes. Fantastic.
Likewise. Ma'am, I'd like to ask you, as women leaders who've worked across the world, are there any gender-related stereotypes which you have come across? If yes, what are they and how have you tackled them?
Right. Well, you know, I think all of us have faced challenges of different types through our lives and through our careers, but maybe I can pick up on the theme of the session today and International Women's Day around leadership. And I think, you know, there are so many gender stereotypes about leadership. What does a leader look like? What does a leader sound like? How does a leader act? And so many of those stereotypes are traditional male models, whether they're deep voices, they're tall, they're assertive, whereas women leaders are often very different in how they lead. And so as a woman working in my current career, but you know, in different professional roles, you know, this is something that women have to be comfortable with, is their type of leadership, and combating what are the stereotypes of leadership, not trying to play a role and be someone they're not, but bringing the particular skill sets that they have as individuals, that they have as women. When you look at the really inspiring women on tonight's panel, the incredible work you're doing and your very inspiring words, that is the type of leadership that we need to be looking at. And that means, and earlier tonight, there was the mention of mentorship. And so if you look at how do you overcome these different stereotypes? So mentorship is one way, looking at and working with other women and women leaders. But I think it's also role models. So, and you know, in my work, I've tried to bring together panels like this or discussions that are showing younger women or women that are trying to make a difference, what leadership can look like and how different people can act in how they're doing their roles. You know, we've talked about life as a student. I was studying science and engineering at university. I was one of very few women. This was quite a while ago, but it hasn't changed that much. So at least now there's a really strong understanding how important it is to have women in science and technology, engineering and math in STEM. But you know, we did have to challenge ourselves. We had to, the women that were taking those courses had to say, you know, I belong here, I'm bringing a different perspective. And that's, I think, applies to leadership as well. For Canada, in terms of diplomacy, my current profession, we now have 50% of our leaders, our ambassadors abroad, are now women. And that sends a really strong signal to the other women that want to be diplomats or who are and want to serve their country abroad. And other countries represented here also know the importance of having visible women leaders. And you need a diversity of leaders as well. So whether they're LGBTQ, from visible minorities, disabled, different religious representation. So for a country like Canada, where we're very, very diverse, that we want to have a representative leadership of men and women. And maybe I'll just close by saying that men are a critical part of us achieving equality, that boys and men need to help us with that journey, and all of the really, important issues that you've raised. It's in men's interests, it's in all of our interests, and they can be a critical part of us and the whole world achieving gender equality.
Thank you so much, ma'am, that perspective. My second question is to you, ma'am. In the past few years, what are some of the sea changes which you've witnessed in your arena of work towards the betterment of women's well-being? One of them you mentioned was 50% of the women are now, 50% of the leaders are now women in the Canadian government. So if you could just elaborate.
Perhaps I can. So in fact, that came about in 2015 when we had a feminist prime minister and a feminist government. And I'm really pleased to have been part of the creation of our feminist international assistance policy. So at that time, we undertook a review of all of our development cooperation around the world, all of our aid, development assistance, to look at how we could make the greatest difference with the resources that we had available to help. And since then, we've developed a new policy that is looking at a feminist lens at everything we do. So that means it's looking at gender equality as central to what we're doing, whether it's climate change and environment, economic empowerment, health and education. We are looking at it so that the women are involved in our development assistance. They're part of the planning, they're part of the implementation, as well as being recipients. And as I said before, boys and men need to be involved also. But at the heart of our international assistance now, it is about making a difference for women, with women. So they are agents of change, and they are empowered as leaders. And some of the issues raised today, for example, child and early forced marriage, sexual and reproductive health and rights, these are important parts that are embedded in a feminist international assistance policy. So for Canada and the countries we're working in, I saw this as a sea change that it took a lot of, it's still taking work. It's ongoing to change how we work to make a real difference for women and girls.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was lovely. I really do believe that the feminist lens, which you did speak about, is something that we need to apply to more than just the government and more than just, certain aspects of everyday life. But yeah, and thank you so much, Prakriti, for sharing your story and for sharing all the work you've been doing. I really did like the poem you wrote. I would like to now invite Miss Afroza to come and share her story. Thank you.
महिला दिनाच्या या मंगल सोहळ्यास उपस्थित सर्व मान्यवरांचे मी नांदगाव सरपंच अफरोजा यासिन नावळेकर, मुक्काम पोस्ट नांदगाव, तालुका कणकवली, जिल्हा सिंधुदुर्ग आपले शब्दसुमनांनी स्वागत करत आहे.
Good evening, everyone. Respected dignitaries, I, Afroza Naukekar, welcome from Kankavli Taluka of Sindhudurg district. Welcome all of you on this auspicious occasion of Women's Day.
या मुलाखतीसाठी एकमेव माझी निवड केला आणि यासाठी महिला राजसत्ता आंदोलन ही संस्था आणि त्या संस्थेत काम करणारे भीम भाऊ, चेतन भाऊ आणि सौ हर्षदा वाळके मॅडम यांचा ही मुलाखतीसाठी मला निवडल्यामुळे त्यांचेही मी सर्वस्वी आभार मानते.
I'm also grateful for the तू त्यांचं नाव सांगशील का परत त्या ऑर्गनायझेशनचं?
महिला राजसत्ता आंदोलन.
I'm also grateful for Mahila Raj Satta Andolan, an organization that has provided me with this platform to be present here today and for selecting me to be a part of the panel today.
जेव्हा थेट सरपंच निवडणूक लागली आणि गावाने पूर्णपणे माझ्यावरती विश्वास ठेवून मला प्रोत्साहन देऊन बहुमतांनी निवड करून माझ्यावरती जो विश्वास दाखवला त्याबद्दल मी गावकऱ्यांचीही आणि गावातील सहकाऱ्यांचे सर्वांचे आभार मानते.
I was selected as the sarpanch based on the trust that I garnered from my village folk, and I was chosen as the sarpanch, and I'm truly grateful for that.
गेली 50 वर्ष आमच्या ग्रामपंचायत स्थापन झाल्यापासून मुस्लिम समाजाचे सरपंच आणि त्यात ही पहिली महिला सरपंच मला म्हणून खूप अभिमान आहे.
I am very proud of being the first Muslim sarpanch in my village since the panchayat was formed 50 years ago.
समाजामध्ये असलेल्या जुन्या चालीरीती, सामाजिक बंधनं यापासून जे मी शिक्षण घेतलं आहे त्याच्यातून महिलांना जास्तीत जास्त सुरक्षित करणे, उदाहरणार्थ शैक्षणिक असू दे, आरोग्य विषयक असू दे किंवा सांस्कृतिक क्षेत्रामध्ये त्यांना पुढाकार देऊन त्यांना स्वावलंबन बनवण्याचं उद्दिष्ट मी साध्य करत आहे.
I have been taking forward the cause of ensuring that women are at the forefront of not only of all the initiatives, be it health or education. I have been actively working towards the same.
महिला म्हणून मला आलेल्या अनुभवावरून महिलांना स्वावलंबी बनवण्यासाठी तसेच स्वतःला आत्मनिर्भर बनवण्यासाठी ज्या राज्य शासनाच्या किंवा केंद्र शासनाच्या योजना आहेत त्या योजनांमधून महिला बचत गटांना त्यांना रोजगार कसा उपलब्ध होईल, त्यांना ते प्लॅटफॉर्म कसा मिळेल, त्यांना संधी कशी मिळेल याबद्दल मी ग्रामपंचायतीकडून वेगवेगळे प्रशिक्षण.
As a woman sarpanch, I've been working towards making women in my community independent, self-sufficient, financially independent. I've been figuring out ways to work with the state policies or schemes that are available or that can be made available to the women from across self-help groups and provide them with livelihoods.
बचत गटांमार्फत गावात जी नैसर्गिक साधन संपत्ती म्हणजे आमच्या इकडे कोकण विभागात जे आमचे पीक आहेत, कोकम, आंबा, सुपारी यापासून वेगवेगळे प्रक्रिया उद्योग आहेत, त्यांना त्या संपत्तीचा योग्य वापर करून महिलांना ग्रामीण उद्योग आणि शेती संदर्भातील उद्योग हे करण्यासाठी काही अभ्यास दौरे, अभ्यास शिबिरे नियोजन करून महिलांना स्वावलंबन बनवण्याचे मोठे उद्दिष्ट सरपंच म्हणून करणे हे माझं मानस आहे.
As a sarpanch, I have been ensuring, or I have made a decision to use the natural resources available in my region, be it kokum, mangoes, and suparis, which is betel nut, which can be used as business opportunities, be it field business opportunities or opportunities or to create livelihoods using these resources, and that's something that I'm actively working towards. I've hosted sessions, trainings for women around using and contextualizing what we have in my region.
महिला आणि पुरुष या समानतेसाठी आम्ही ग्रामपंचायत सुद्धा जेव्हा एखादं घर बांधलं किंवा प्रॉपर्टी असेल तर त्या असेसमेंट वरती आम्ही दोन्ही म्हणजे पुरुषाचंही नाव आणि त्याचबरोबर महिलाचंही नाव म्हणजे स्त्री पुरुष समानता यानुसार आम्ही असेसमेंट देतो.
In our village, while conducting property assessments, we ensure that both the male and female names are considered while assessing the property, and we especially pay attention to the same.
गावातील ज्या मुलगा मुलगी यांचे गुणोत्तर योग्य राखण्यासाठी मुलींना जन्म देणाऱ्या महिलांचा सन्मान तसेच मुलींच्या जन्माचं स्वागत आम्ही ग्रामपंचायतीतर्फे दरवर्षी करतो.
As a part of the local governing body in our village, every year we celebrate the women, especially the women who give birth to girl child, and yeah, that's...
आणि मुलींच्या जन्माचं स्वागत.
Yeah, and welcome the birth of a girl child. Yes.
तसेच माझी ग्रामपंचायत ही महाराष्ट्र राज्यातील पहिली ग्रामपंचायत ठरली की जिने बालसभा ही घेतली.
My governance body is the first governance body that conducted or hosted the first children's meeting in the village.
कारण जे वय वर्ष 5 पासून ते 17 पर्यंत गावातील जे मतदार असतात किंवा मुलं असतात त्यांना आपला संपर्कच येत नाही किंवा शासनाने त्यांना हक्क दिलाय की 18 वर्षानंतर त्यांना बोलण्याचा अधिकार किंवा मतदानाचा अधिकार आहे. त्यामुळे त्यांचे जे प्रश्न होते त्या बालसभेद्वारे आम्हाला सहज सोडवता आले.
In this children's gathering or Bal Sabha, we ensured that we heard the voices of young children between 5 to 17 years of age, and understand their perspective, because through the mandate you can only raise your voice after 18 years of age, but because we held the children's meeting or gathering, we were able to understand their perspectives, their challenges, their struggles, and also address them as a governing body.
तसेच माझ्या गावात जेव्हा सरपंच म्हणून आल्यानंतर विरोधक हे असतात ते विरोध महिला म्हटल्यानंतर जास्तच विरोध होतो, तरी पण त्या विरोधाला मी मोडून काढण्याचा प्रयत्न केला आणि जे आम्हाला साध्य करायचं आहे पूर्ण आमच्या ग्रामपंचायत बॉडीला साध्य करायचं आहे ते आम्ही नेहमीच चांगले निर्णय घेतो जे गावासाठी योग्य असतील असे.
Similarly, I've faced a lot of opposition, being in a position of a sarpanch. However, I have made sure that whatever decisions are being taken for the good of the village folk, and I've continued to hold my position as a female head of the village.
ग्रामपंचायतीचा कारभार सांभाळण्यासाठी गावातील माजी सरपंच, ज्येष्ठ व्यक्ती, पंचायत समिती सदस्य, तसेच आमचे उपसरपंच, ग्रामविकास अधिकारी, ग्रामपंचायत सदस्य यांचंही मला खूप सहकार्य असतं.
Not only this, but I am supported by a team of a deputy sarpanch, other elder dignitaries in the village, as well as other supportive members that have ensured that the governing body and the work stays at the forefront.
इथून पुढेही मी माझ्या गावासाठी जे उद्दिष्ट आव्हान स्वीकारलेत आणि जे माझ्या मनात आहेत ते मी साध्य करण्याचा नक्कीच प्रयत्न करू आणि या कार्यक्रमासाठी आयोजकांनी मला निवडलं त्यांचेही मी धन्यवाद मानते. आणि माझे 2 प्रश्न विचारायचे आहेत डेप्युटी कन्सल जनरल बेट्रिक्स हँगमन यांना.
I will, moving forward, I want to ensure that as the head of the village, as a sarpanch, I want to ensure that I keep working towards the enlisted causes in favor of the village folk. And my 2 questions for Ms. Beatrix.
आता पहिला प्रश्न की माझ्या देशात महिलांना सर्व क्षेत्रात 50% आरक्षण आहे. तसेच स्त्री पुरुष समानताही आहे. तसेच प्रत्येक कार्यक्षेत्रात महिलांचे कर्तृत्ववान सिद्ध होत आहेत आणि त्यांना संधी मिळते आहे. तशीच तुमच्या देशातही 50% आरक्षण किंवा दिलं आहे का आणि दिलं नसल्यास त्याची सुरुवात तुम्ही कशी करणार?
All right. So Beatrix, the question is, the women folk in my country have a 50% reservation, across various programs and schemes and policies. I wanted to understand if your community and your country also provides such opportunities for women, and depending on the answer, yes or no, what are some ways or how could you work towards the same?
Okay, thank you very much. And Afrozo, you are so inspiring, and that's what we need, young women on grassroots level who are doing such good work in the community. Thank you, Afrozo, that you do that in your community. And thank you all to the panelists who are here. It is very, very inspiring for me to be part of this round. In Switzerland, I have to refer to my country. Actually, in Switzerland, in many fields, we have also not 50% of women's quota. We are working towards it. It's also a long journey. Like in Switzerland, 50 years ago, we only got women's voting rights. So you can see the women have had a long journey to get where they are now. For example, in our executive, we have 3 women and 4 men. And also in the Swiss parliaments, we are trying to promote the women. So at the moment, 47% of women, which are members of the 2 chambers in our parliaments. In my ministry, for example, we have a gender network platform, which we have dialogues and sharing information about activities relating to women's rights and gender equality in various divisions in our ministry. I think that's very important also to have support to exchange your views with other like-minded young women or men who are supporting the women towards equality. In my office now here, we have actually 11 women working and 10 men. So the quote is over 50%. So we achieved already something in India, in our consulate. And also, regarding education, I want to say also in Switzerland, the students, the women students at university are also over 50%, actually 53.6%. And they are doing also education in more male domains like law, medicine, technology, and natural sciences. So this is also a good advance in our country. In the private sector, private companies still have to go a longer way because women at leading positions are not very predominant in Switzerland yet. there are still work to be done, but the politician and the laws, we try to achieve that in a few years, hopefully. So let's see how we go about it. But like you know, education is for women and men very important. They have to be educated also that women can be in a leading position, because that's very important also, that not only women are educated, also men. So this is for the first question. I want to conclude. I hope this is what, yes, sorry.
Yeah, I can.
I think you have to translate it, sorry.
Yes, I will do
Yes.
that, Beatrix. No, not a problem.
Okay.
Thank you so much. अफरोजा त्या म्हणत होत्या की अजूनपर्यंत तरी 50% हे त्यांच्या देशामध्ये साध्य झालं नाहीये विमेनसाठी, पण भरपूर लॉंग जर्नी आहे, कारण का 50 वर्ष अगोदर त्यांच्या देशामध्ये बायकांना वोटिंगचे राईट्स मिळालेले आहेत, आणि ते त्यातल्या त्यात भरपूर नवीनच आहे. आणि म्हणजे त्यांचं जे एक्झिक्युटिव्ह आहे त्याच्यात 3 बायका आणि 4 पुरुष, आणि स्विस पार्लमेंटमध्येही 47% असे जे मेंबरशिप आहे ती विमेनला दिलेली आहे. आणि त्यांच्या स्वतःच्या एम्बसीमध्ये म्हणे जेंडर नेटवर्क प्लॅटफॉर्म आहे, ज्याच्यावरती ती लोक चर्चा करतात, आणि म्हणजे मिनिस्ट्री वगैरेंशी आणि सहमत असणाऱ्या लोकांशी चर्चा होते जेंडर इक्वालिटी बद्दल. आणि त्यांच्या स्वतःच्या कॉन्स्युलेटमध्ये 11 बायका आणि 10 पुरुष असा हे झालेला असल्यामुळे त्याच्याबद्दल भरपूर खुश आहेत त्यांच्या ऑफिसमध्ये तरी. आणि त्यांच्या युनिव्हर्सिटी बद्दल त्या अशा म्हणाल्या की 53.6% बायका ज्या आहेत त्या बायका किंवा मुली ज्या आहेत त्या अशा फील्ड्समध्ये शिक्षण घेत आहेत जे पूर्वी मेल्सनी डॉमिनेट केलेले होते. सो फॉर एक्झाम्पल टेक्नॉलॉजी, लॉ, पॉलिसी अशा फील्ड्समध्ये स्त्रींना प्राधान्य मिळत आहे. आणि आपल्याकडे भरपूर म्हणजे ही वाट तर भरपूर मोठी लांब असणार आहे, आणि प्रायव्हेट कंपन्यांनाही त्याच्यामुळे ह्याच्यावरती काम करायला लागणार आहे. पण जसं तू बोललीस की करून स्त्री आणि पुरुष या दोघांनाही शिक्षण मिळणं, आणि स्त्रियांनी खास करून लिडरशिप पोझिशन मध्ये असणं जशी तू आहेस, हे फार फार गरजेचं आहे. आणि तेवढाच त्यांचं म्हणायचं होतं.
माझा दुसरा प्रश्न असा आहे की भारतासारख्या देशात मुलगी नको मुलगा हवा, वंशाचा दिवा म्हणून, जेव्हा यासाठी भारतासारख्या देशात कायदे पण आहेत की गर्भलिंग निदान होऊ नये किंवा मुलगी म्हणून गर्भपात होऊ नये, हे जसं आमच्या देशात घडतं, जरी कायदे असले तरी ती छुप्या पद्धतीने सुद्धा होतात. मग त्याच्यासाठी त्यांच्या इकडे पण तसंच होतं की त्याच्यासाठी काय कडक कायदेही करता येतील काय?
धन्यवाद. Miss Beatrix, Afroza's next question to you is that you know, there are in India especially there are quite a few laws that prevent you know, female infanticide and mutation, or you know, aborting the girl, aborting or abortions when you find out that you have a girl child and so on. And irrespective of these laws, the system sort of figures out an illegal way of still going ahead and you know, inciting such violence against you know, even unborn girl children. And so how does one address the same, right? Like, what are some of the stringent measures that one can take, and if this has been the case, you know, in your part of the world, and what have been some of the responses against the same?
Yes, thank you for the question. These questions is very, very, very difficult because this is relating to also a culture and religion, tradition and values. So that means the patriarchal family system and the bias look down on the birth of a girl because a boy is valued more economically and culturally. This is deeply rooted, and these of course are in the mindset of the people. So there is education also again to be done in the society and also in the family itself. That is already when you are in the family, the boys need also to be educated, you know, that the girls have some value too. So it is often also that girls are often neglected and denied food and education and medical care. So I know that in Switzerland or in Western countries, like if you give birth, this is, you have no gender discrimination or a selective abortion. I mean, if it's a girl or a boy, both are very welcome in our society, in our Western countries. So I believe that the age-old mindset must be changed, but it has to be changed also, like you do, Afroza, in the small community, and to try to educate also the families how that a girl is just as versatile as a boy. So this is also what you are doing in your community. And I must admit, I really are inspired what you are doing. And thank you for all the girls and the young women in your country. This is very inspiring. So I guess you do the right thing, and it's just needing time and education on these levels. So
Yeah, thank you, Beatrix. अफरोजा, बिएट्रिक्स म्हणतायत की हा जो तू विषय आता काढलेला आहेस तो फारच कठीण आहे त्याच्यावर बोलणं, कारण का ह्याच्यात आपलं रिलिजन, ट्रेडिशन, आपले जे जुने जे आपले रीत वगैरे आहेत त्या सगळ्या ह्याच्याशी संबंधित आहेत. आणि आपल्याकडे जसं पुरुषाकडून जे आपल्याला आपलं वंश चालवण्याची जी पद्धत आहे त्याच्यामुळे ह्या पद्धती पुढे केल्या जात आहेत, जिथे मुलाला जास्त प्राधान्य देतात. आणि हे सगळं ह्या एका विचारसरणीत बसलेला आहे है ना. तर आपल्याला ती विचारसरणी लोकांची बदलली पाहिजे. आणि सगळ्यात पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे एज्युकेशन, म्हणजे शिक्षण जे आहे ते केलं पाहिजे. सोसायटीचं तर केलंच पाहिजे, पण त्याचबरोबर छोट्या लेवलमध्ये, म्हणजे आपल्या फॅमिलीजमध्ये, आपल्या घरामध्ये आपण शिक्षण घडवलं पाहिजे, सगळ्यात पहिली गोष्ट. आणि त्या पण म्हणतात की म्हणजे मुलींना निग्लेक्ट जेवण किंवा न्यूट्रिशन निग्लेक्ट करणं, एज्युकेशन निग्लेक्ट करणं किंवा हेल्थ निग्लेक्ट करणं हे चालूच आहे म्हणा. पण आणि हे जे पण थँकफुली म्हणजे त्यांच्या देशामध्ये तरी जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन किंवा सिलेक्टिव्ह अबॉर्शन हे होत नाहीये. आणि त्यांचं असं म्हणणं आहे की जी ही म्हणजे जी ही पुरातन आपली जी विचारसरणी आहे ती बदलावी लागेल. आणि तू जे उदाहरण दिलंस किंवा तू जे काम करते आहेस ॲज अ सरपंच तुझ्या विलेजमध्ये, ते फार महत्त्वाचं आहे. कारण का जेव्हा आपण मायक्रो लेवलवरती, छोट्या लेवलवरती काम करणार तेव्हाच सिस्टममध्ये फरक पडणार. आणि त्यांचं असं म्हणणं आहे की आपल्याला ह्याच्यातून इन्स्पिरेशन घेत पेशन्स ठेवत, कारण का ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टींना वेळ लागणार, इट विल टेक टाइम, असं त्या म्हणतायत. आणि तुझे फार कौतुक करत आहेत त्या, आणि तुला कॉंग्रॅच्युलेशन्स असं म्हणतायत. थँक्यू.
थँक्यू.
या मी सरपंच पदावरती आहे एवढ्या लहान वयात, तर या सरपंच पदाची जबाबदारी निभावताना माझ्या घरातल्याही मी चांगल्या प्रकारे म्हणजे माझी पती असू देत, सासू असू देत, आई वडील असू देत, पूर्ण फॅमिली असू देत, त्यांचंही मला चांगलं सहकार्य लाभलं. आणि त्याचमुळे मी या पदावरती आज बसलेले आहे आणि पूर्ण गाव सांभाळत आहे. आणि शेवटी मला असं म्हणावं लागेल की महिलांचा करा सन्मान, देश बनेल महान, जबाबदारीसह घेता भरारी, नाव जे आहे नारी.
So Afroza says that wherever she stands today, it has been possible because of her family, be it her husband, her in-laws, her parents. There has been like an army of people who've put her where she is today, and hence the role of the family is very important. And keeping that in mind, she just wants to give a message which essentially says that with a woman you make progress, like together. So that's about it. Thank you.
आणि या कार्यक्रमासाठी उपस्थित सर्व मान्यवर आणि त्यांनी मला आयोजक त्यांनी मला ही बोलण्याची, जागतिक लेवलवरती बोलण्याची संधी दिली, त्यांचेही मी आभार मानते आणि माझे इथे 2 शब्द संपवते. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद.
Yeah, very grateful to be speaking on a global platform such as this, and I'm thankful for each one of you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Afroza. It's very inspiring to know that there are women in the government, especially at the level you are. And thank you so much, ma'am Beatrice. I think there's a lot that we could learn from what you have spoken about. And I would like to address my next question to Ma'am Brenda Van Horn. I would like to know if you faced any social challenges in your life, and if you have, how have you overcome them?
Well, thank you for the question. And I feel a little bit at a disadvantage coming at the end of the program after hearing all of these inspiring and thoughtful words from both the questioners and the questionees. So I'll give it a shot. Yes, of course. I mean, we've all had difficult and challenging social situations. I will say that as not only a woman in the business world and a woman in the diplomatic world, but also as in my earlier life as a single woman, and then later as a single mom, that also created some awkward or sometimes non-existent social challenges, in that the invitations just weren't coming because, what do you do with the lone single person? So I think that, yeah, we all face those, but you work to your strengths. You look for your allies. You look for ways to get around the issues that are in front of you. I loved what you said earlier at the very beginning when you said that people told you that it's a man's game and you shouldn't be playing it. Well, that's life, right? It's a man's game. I figured out really early that, yeah, it's a man's game, but I didn't have to play by their rules. So, this is what you do. You look for your allies. If you need to go to an event and you need to take somebody with you, you call your girlfriend. Everybody says it has to be your husband, right? So you call your girlfriend and you take your sister, or you manage it that way. And then just to follow up on that point of how you get around that stuff. again, I'm not sure who said it. I think it might have been, I don't remember, but working on your strengths that you have. You know, as women, I think one of our great strengths is that we are very collaborative. So that worked for me. You know, if I was in an awkward situation, I looked for the ally, for the person I could collaborate with that could help me through the situation, whatever that was. So that's my long answer, I guess.
Okay, I have another question.
Mhm.
What was the most important risk you took to get to where you are? And why was it the most important risk for you?
That's a great question. You know, it's funny. I was just telling somebody this earlier today when they were asking me about my professional life and how I came to do what I do, and I mentioned that basically it was a choice I had. I was in a situation where they were making some changes at the company that I worked for. I was in the private sector at the time, and they basically said, you know, you can learn international, you can head up our international department, or we're going to have to separate. And I needed a job, and even though I knew nothing about it, and didn't really want to do it, I had a choice to make. And so that choice was either, you know, take that risk of doing something that you've never ever done before and try to figure it out, or you know, go back to something that was familiar and comfortable. And I took the risk and decided that, you know, this isn't so bad, and decided to just keep doing it. And eventually that led me into coming to work as a commercial counselor, and, you know, have seen the world since then. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for whatever you've had to say. I would like to invite Elsa to take over from here.
Well, thank you so much, Claudia, Brenda, Anna, Beatrice, Deidre. I'm going to forget everyone. But Afroza, Prakriti, Janka. And, you know, I mean, these stories are really, really very important, because if we don't share the successes, the challenges, how do we really talk about leadership in the future? How do we pave the way and make it smoother? Because all our lived experiences are very different. Yes, I remember. I forgot Maria. So, so anyway, I personally had a wonderful time. I know we overshot the time, but you can't interrupt, right? And you can't say your 5 minutes are up when you're talking about such deeply personal issues. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, but I want to hand it over to Supreet now.
Thank you so much, Elsa. And thank you so much for staying back, everyone. I know we have overshot. We were supposed to close this at 7:30, but it's almost 8 o'clock. So thank you for that. Would like to definitely say thank you to all you wonderful ladies who came here and had this dialogue and inspired these young girls who are aspiring and trying to do something and make a difference in their communities. Would also like to thank UNICEF and Raji. Thank you for staying back and being here. And everyone else who came here to be a part of the conversation, a big thank you. It makes a lot of difference for everyone who comes and even listens to these conversations, because you're going to take it back to your home and to your community and to your country. So thank you so much for that. And with that, Elsa, I think we will now come to a close.
I also want to thank Crosswords. We have, you know, lots of people viewing it online, so thank you so much. But we have a request for you know, group picture. So please, if everybody can switch on their videos and we can take the pictures. If you don't want to show your video, that's also fine. But I'm going to stop the live stream. So thank you all those people who were watching online. I'm going to stop that. Yeah. And we will take this picture. So 1, 2, 3, your biggest smiles, please. 1, 2, 3 again. There were some people, yeah. And we have 2 screens, so I have to do another one. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And I know for the young girls, they were a little nervous, but the internet behaved itself and all were brilliant. Your stories are absolutely amazing. I cannot even begin to put myself in your shoes. So I want to thank you. And on behalf of Red Dot Foundation, please do check our website, safecity.in. We work on sexual violence prevention. We have a crowd map. Use it, use the data, make your neighborhood safer. And I would love to partner with anyone and everyone who wants to accelerate gender equality. Thank you and good night.